Hello everyone, today we got to play Terra. This was one of my Christmas gifts Santa brought me. Santa Dragon Mother. So it's by Tim Pender, and it is a co-op game, which is something I'm not generally keen on, but this one I've heard good things about, so I had an interest in it. This is the Kickstarter, I believe, version, or it's the deluxe version, so it's got miniatures it comes with, and there was a couple of 2 or 3 expansions that we didn't play with them. This is our first time playing, so we played the base game. So we're going to give you our thoughts on it. So let's start off with quality of pieces.
Well, it's your game. What do you think first?
Well, I think it's much better with the miniatures that we have and such that we played with. Otherwise, you get wooden meeples, which would have been fine too, but it's more fun, I think, in this case with the miniatures, particularly the monsters, because the monster tokens are represented with these little wooden slash marks. They're not real exciting.
Compared to, these are so much nicer.
I'll spawn you an image of both next to each other. Now I'll just hope that picture actually appears. But yeah, you can see the difference between the miniature versus the creatures. There's similarly, we've got the water tokens.
Yeah, you got water tokens and rubble tokens that were cardboard.
Cardboard. So they're nicer in this version. I would personally not want to play the base version after playing this one. I don't think, because it's definitely more entertaining with the miniatures and the plastic. The tiles they're a little thin, but they're not bad. They're pretty, and they're nice dark, which sets the mood for the game.
It does, and I would say if I was to have a critique, that'd be the only one, is that they're a little too dark on some of them. It's kind of hard to see where the tunnels, where the paths lie. So you'd have to hit it just right with the light to be able to see it right.
But I think it does add to the atmosphere.
I agree. It is definitely dark, and that's the whole point of the game.
Yeah, because the idea is that you are miners and you're tunneling under earth when you get trapped, and you have to find the exit, and you are not alone. There are lurkers in the ground, and you don't know exactly what they are, but they have a taste for human flesh.
They're horrors.
Particularly mine, for some reason. Yeah. They really were attracted to me.
But you were able to hide so well.
I was able to hide in a dead-end cave where they spawn from, no less. So you're trying to explore the cave to find the exit, which is at the bottom of a big pile of tiles. And you and each one of your members has a special ability that helps out with the other, their job. My personal one, I was leader, so I could give one of my actions on my turn to one of the other players, which it mildly helped. It wasn't really helpful.
When I was alive, it helped out.
Yeah. Our bodyguard was Robert, and he died a couple times. You don't die in the game until the very end. It's really...
But I was unconscious and useless for about the last
That's
4 or 5 turns.
Your life,
right? In general. But usually I know that part.
Yeah.
But this is apparent to everybody.
I definitely had fun playing the diver, because you could swim from one water tile to another, and you could be on one side of the map to the other.
Not that he did.
Not that he actually did.
Not that he actually did.
It's like it
does.
Yeah. So, but we're talking about quality pieces, so let's rate it back to that. So I think the cardboard is a little thin compared to what we would normally like to see in a tile game, like Carcassonne and some of the others. So it's a little thinner quality. The player boards are nice as far as they're thick. They got some pretty art on them. There's, as far as the components, again, the pieces that come in the base game are not great. The cards are.
They're okay.
They're shiny. I like some of the shininess on the claws.
But there's no texture to them at all.
Yeah, there's no texture whatsoever, and they're probably going to need to sleeve them. I haven't.
Depending on how often you play it.
Yeah. Because you will shuffle at each game with and trying to set your deck up for trying to play the game. The ropes and such are cardboard components. They're nice. They have a tunnel on one side and the rope on the other, or the explosives, which our engineer had, and those were very helpful.
Right.
And that was like a neat where you flipped it over once you blew the hole and it would actually create the tunnel for you. I like that a lot.
So as far as component quality, there's some highs and there's some lows.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
What would you score?
I'm probably give it a 7. I don't think it's that exciting as far as the component quality, but it's functional. It's all functional.
And there's some good parts.
And there are some good parts to it, especially if I didn't have the miniatures and such, I'd probably give it more like a 6.
Right. What do you think, Jonathan?
Honestly, I would give it an 8.
Okay.
I mean, as somebody who doesn't necessarily always go for getting the miniatures and all that stuff, even the cardboard tiles would have been fine for me.
Yeah. Base game is better than Catan. I'll give the base parts a 6, but with the nice miniatures, it's 7, maybe even 7+.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 7. As someone who tried to paint minis, I think these would be pretty hard to paint.
Yeah, they are pretty small.
They're small, and I mean, there's some detail, but there's not a whole lot, so it would be tough to paint them.
But they did match the player boards pretty nice.
You
could tell which character was which, even if you didn't have the base on them, you could identify.
That's true, but it still would be hard to paint them. But I mean, it's a good quality game, and especially, I don't know if she didn't buy it through Kickstarter, right? She
I don't
just
know.
bought someone's Kickstarter
Santa
version.
brought it. I have no idea.
Oh, okay, well, either
Santa
way,
doesn't buy presents; he makes them.
it's kind of hard to judge with Kickstarters what you're going to get when it really comes in.
Basically, that means this is a knockoff. This is really because Tim Pinder made the game, but Santa cloned it.
Delivered it.
Santa's a jerk.
I'd give it a 7. It's got some good stuff. It's got some bad stuff. So, but all of it is still it was functional.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so let's go about theme. I think we already talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, theme-wise, I think
I thought this was very well done as far as
I
theme
agree.
goes.
Yes, I agree.
You felt the tension in this game.
Absolutely.
You either on your turn you explore, and if you explore, you got the choice of doing it carefully, which meant you flipped the tile and you didn't move in.
But it was slower.
But you were slow, and there was no way you could get through the whole deck of tiles if you didn't gamble and take
And I
that
think that
chance.
may have been part of our problem is we did that too much at the beginning.
I'm still glad we did because we got hit really hard.
We
with
did,
bad tiles in the
but-
very beginning.
But I think also
it did give Jonathan a chance to go off on his own.
Well, Jonathan
where if
was going to abandon us and leave
yeah.
us behind.
That's
for dead
probably true.
anyway.
But I mean, honestly, from this whole area here, all I did is explore and reveal, explore and reveal, explore and reveal.
But you were lucky and got the good,
Right.
some of the best tiles,
Yeah.
Right.
Because they were safe.
Yeah, you got all the safe tiles, left us all the crap back here.
Got
Sorry about the language. All the garbage back here.
I mean, yeah, the only really problems I had were the gas and,
Well, you shouldn't have
Cliff
eaten
and-
what you ate before you left.
Right. But either way,
Yeah, but
Thematically,
thematically,
it's awesome.
you felt tension, and
Yes.
when I got to the point where I was cornered into a dead end, where it was on a spawning location for the monsters, surrounded by one gas space, a flooded marker, and 3 rubble markers, and I had no way of getting out of it. I felt tense.
yeah.
I had to keep hiding for my life.
which was quite fun.
Yes, it was funny, and I was also the next to last survivor. So there was a lot for being a game that I don't generally like the category it's in. I actually really enjoyed this, but we'll get to that in gameplay. We're talking theme again. We got distracted. So theme-wise, I'm going to give this one, I think, a 9. I really like how it sucks you into that feel.
I would agree.
Give it a 9.
I would agree.
And you're a 9?
I
would give it a 9. It did a really good job of pulling you into the game, and the mechanics all fit.
Yeah.
So,
as far as the rule book is decent. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's decent. It's got a lot of repetitiveness in it.
which isn't necessarily
It isn't necessarily a bad thing. No, it's just that
as long as it makes sense.
yeah. Well, there's some rules that were in here where it gave you part of it, and then later on it reiterated it, and they were added and clarified some of the stuff that it didn't specify at the beginning. So I think it could have been a little more condensed and actually gotten it made it easier to read.
Yeah.
Because the section about the tiles triggering versus the actions,
Right.
they were broken out, but yet it said the same thing, but one section had added more clarity around it. And then again with the monster movement, how that worked, it was the same kind of thing. I think they could have combined those sections and made it a little clearer, but it wasn't bad. And then there's a lot of, back here about all the caver abilities, which is really just reiterating what's on the player boards. It doesn't really add much to it, if anything. I think it's just exactly what the board said. So there was some redundancies. There's an FAQ, which is kind of something you don't typically see in rule books, which is nice. Granted, they probably are incomplete and compared to what you'd find on the internet nowadays. It's probably, that's probably why you don't see a lot. And then there's the back. They've got the different cards structures, which they also give you cheat sheet cards for, which is a plus.
I just don't know if they gave you enough. I mean, they gave us ones for the basic and the hazard, which is great for each
enough
person,
for each player,
and the round
but not enough for these.
Yeah, that was odd that they gave you less than the number of players.
Because these would have been nice to have for each player.
Yeah.
So
they should have just given 6 of each.
Right.
I don't know why they.
That was strange.
But I guess they thought that these were the critical ones for everybody to play, and then the other ones are going to be less important. That somebody kind of just manage that.
I guess you could probably set these between 2 players.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't make sense when you give one for everybody, the other ones are not. But it really wasn't a problem for the game.
It wasn't huge. It's just weird.
Yeah. So all in all, I'm going to give the rule book an 8. I think it's not hard reading it. It was not hard to pick this up at all as far as the gameplay from what we learned, and we really didn't make that many mistakes as far as it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So now
like
on
usual,
to the gameplay.
I think we'll all agree.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Okay. Y'all. All right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, gameplay. This is where we really want to spend some time talking.
It really shines.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun unexpectedly for me. I was expecting from what I've heard it to be fun for people who like co-op games, but I was not sure if I would like it as a result of that. I did enjoy this a lot. And it was the thrill of, the digging through the tunnel, not knowing what you're going to find when you get through it. I was hoping there'd be more to it, so I'm really looking forward to the expansions because it was tough as it was, but it felt like there wasn't enough things that you could explore and find. It was still, you're either going to find an open tunnel, which is the best case scenario, or you're going to find water hazards or rubble hazards or spawning grounds for the creatures.
Cliffs.
Slides. Yeah, there were things, but it was like, it'd be nice if there were some positive things you could find.
Right.
You could find something to help you on your way.
And if I were to have a criticism, I wish there was something to where you could not necessarily defeat the horror, but be able to either sneak around them or do something. Well, yeah, but something besides that. Because it's like Randy, he got stuck. I mean, granted, he was able to hide and was able to be okay once Alan's character got far enough away where those horrors went away. But if Alan would have stayed in that general area, it would have really hurt Randy.
Well, it was more the lack of actions that we got as a result of that. You being unconscious because you got into bad situations. Right. Me being caught in a hole where I couldn't get out. We lost 2 of our players from early on, so it made the game even more difficult.
Right.
But it was actually kind of funny because
it was funny, but yeah, it'd have been nice if there was something I could do.
And I realized I kind of made a mistake. I should have been up there at some point helping you guys, and here I am just.
No, it was much better that you were running away from us and laughing about it. We enjoyed that immensely. Thank you.
You're what? Hey, I escaped. But
now you know why we don't have Jonathan around more.
And that's classic Jonathan. So
he's looking out for numero uno and leaving everyone behind.
So, what would you score it?
I'm going to give this one a 9 as far as for solo gameplay. I don't think
I don't know about solo. But...
Well, I mean, not solo. I mean, co-op is what I meant. Sorry. Co-op gameplay, because I don't typically like these kind of games, and this one actually I did enjoy a lot. And I think I'll like it more once we see what the expansions add. I'm hoping that they'll add more to it, because it felt like it was a little bit light as far as the different things you're going to find in this tunnel, and I wanted to explore more of the tunnel and find more things. So I'm hoping that they'll add more components to it, but not like make the difficulty so ridiculously hard that you can't get out. And I know there's a Terra 2 out too, so I'm curious what it does.
Yeah.
What do you think, Alan? We'll just score it over.
Easily a 9. Good fun game. It kept you engaged, even when it wasn't your turn. You're paying attention to what everything else is going on. A lot of different options. It seems like you would be boxed in, and at the end you kind of got boxed in, but you did have some early on options. I think one thing you did learn is that you can't play this separately. It's a cooperative game, and you have to cooperate. If you end up separated, like we did, you're basically not going to. There's no way to win if you separate. The only way I could see possibly to win this game is you've got to stay grouped together reasonably well. So when that entrance comes up, you can all go flooding out it before something even worse happens. Because I mean, that's basically what happened. I mean, you could kind of see this building as kind of coming to the board, but I mean, about halfway when it kind of Jonathan ended up on his own, the chances are he's going to find that entrance. Sure enough, he did, and then just kind of sealed it at that point in time. So the only way you've got to try to find ways to, and the cave ended up being more linear. It's just kind of one long, it's shaped like an S here. But to where, if you could have made it to where it kind of looped back on itself and to where it wasn't a line effectively, that could have made it a little easier perhaps. But given that the tiles are random, that's just, you're going to get lucky.
We didn't. I felt like there was way more dead ends and straightaways than there were intersections.
Right.
So that, it almost feels like you're going to run into that long chain situation a lot in this game.
What do you think?
I'll be honest with you. I would personally give it a 10.
Oh, wow.
I enjoyed this game immensely.
Wow, I'm glad. The thing is, it's like this dichotomy. And we might be getting skewed because of our playing through Shining earlier. It was like, these are both in the same genre. This one just does it way better.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing the difference between the two. So I'm afraid that our scores might be skewed a bit because of
it's
our
possible.
Well, I mean,
but
for me,
I'm not going to give it as high of a score. So just so you know. So.
Okay, good.
Personally, for me, I love cooperative games. I mean, I really enjoy it.
I didn't feel like it during this game, I can tell you that.
of most of the cooperative games I played, this is one of the more...
I was going to say, if there was a possibility of this game having a hidden traitor, I would have accused you.
Well, that might be what
maybe there is.
I think we felt like we played with that expansion this game.
So, and you said a 10. All right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like Randy, I generally don't like co-ops, but I don't like co-ops because I don't like playing a game where I feel like I can't win it. And you like that difficulty.
Well, no,
it's something. And I don't.
The reason I don't like co-ops, and we've talked about this, I don't know if I've shared it with you, is because there's so many of them that your life is determined by the shuffle of a deck.
Yeah.
This one didn't have that problem. And there's a lot of co-ops that do, Pandemic, that basically you could not even play the game, just shuffle the deck, flip the cards over, and say, I won or lost. And you wasted, 30 minutes to an hour playing a game that you never were going to win. And that is what I don't like. This one, you didn't have that issue.
True, but I still don't like being presented with a game where you can tell at some point that you're not going to be able to win the game, that there's no solution to that problem. And I'm not saying I didn't have fun playing this game. I did. I had a lot of fun. A lot more fun I usually have with these kind of games. But that's the only reason why I'm going to give it an 8. I'm not going to give it like a 9 or a 10. It's still a good game. I definitely want to play it again. There might be elements to this that we haven't seen with the expansion, so that could drastically increase how much I would like the game. But for right now, it's, again, another game that I played where it felt like I'm not going to be able to win it, so I can't enjoy it as much as I would maybe a Euro game.
To be fair, you spent a lot of time unconscious in the game, unfortunately.
So
yes.
But I don't want that to bias my opinion.
Well, no, but
it's like
to be
any
fair
co-op.
to the people that are viewing, you have the risk in this game of being knocked out of the game and sitting a lot. I mean, that is a fault in the game if you want to find fault.
But I think the fault was related to what Alan was saying. We didn't stay together.
Because we were
So,
separated.
right,
We
if
couldn't
we stayed
revive
together, it wouldn't have been as much of it.
Yeah, at one point he did revive you.
Yeah,
Alan
we
was
did one
able to
time.
get there and save you, but I was basically chased down,
Mhm.
and Jonathan was in his own game, so
Well, I realized at some point where I should have probably.
Right.
No,
But it's also a learning
no,
game.
forget it.
I mean, that was funny. Though.
Yeah,
So-
it was. It was actually added to the humor of the
Yeah,
game, so
yeah.
I didn't mind it at all. Although
But
we'll be cussing
that's
your
why I
name
give
in
it-
effigy after you leave.
I think that if there's a way to either mitigate the dice rolls a little bit, or if there was something I could do against the horrors or something like that, where I had a little bit more control, I'd have liked it a little bit
Well,
more.
but the thing with the dice rolls is you're still having a 50-50 chance of a skill check.
Yeah, but I suck at dice rolling.
Well,
So if there's a way I can mitigate the dice rolls, it would be better for
play
me.
as the leader
So,
because you're going to get +1.
Yeah.
but anyway, that's why I give it an 8.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think,
Yeah,
and
get that.
if it weren't for I'm actually thinking I'm giving it a 9 for the potential of this game.
Yeah.
If the expansions add what I'm thinking they might add, because the base game of this felt like it was light as far as missing
mhm.
some options. It was the same when you go through this cave. It's like, oh, I'm running into a cliff again, or I'm running into this again.
Right.
So there is some repetitiveness to it. So I can see an 8 perfectly fine. I giving my 9 based upon the fact that I don't typically enjoy these games, so I'm giving it a few bonus points,
Sure.
or at least a bonus point, because it's so rare for me to find a co-op that I actually
I
enjoy.
think you're right in that assessment. The base game, I've always had the option. When I play a game the first time, I'm not about winning or losing. I'm about learning the mechanics, learning how these things work. And while the game, you look at everything, and it's like, oh, this is going to take a long time to learn. Once you've gone through 2 or 3 turns, you really start blasting through it without any
It was
trouble.
smooth.
The mechanics are easy. The thing about it is, what I was going to say, that when you have that, that's kind of going to be at odds with that, if you would be that elegance that would allow you to not know whether you're going to win or lose until you get close to the end, to have that still, to where here we had a feeling halfway through that we're going down the tubes.
Yeah.
To whereas it's difficult to get that elegance. I think maybe hopefully some of the expansions will bring some of that in by putting in some more options that perhaps allow you to do that, to where it doesn't become so painfully obvious that you're just kind of playing it out.
I was really hoping to see Gollum somewhere. That would be great.
Well, I did appreciate that once the game reaches out of time,
Yeah.
you still have the remote chance. It's very,
But it speeds it up. I think it's a mechanism to speed
Well,
that up.
I was feeling like a superhero making it as far as I did, because I gave it a good go.
Right,
I
you got
tried.
through probably 2 or 3 turns. Of,
Of just luck,
Of surviving.
being able to survive, and that made me feel like, oh, I can do this. I knew I wasn't going to, but I felt like it for a moment. I was going to make it all the way down that big tunnel, all the way to the exit. But
But good thing you died here instead of dying there.
well,
Because that would have sucked.
well, not necessarily. I would
I
still.
would
I mean,
have been
if I
upset.
started in the situation that I was in and could get all the way to that point,
But still die?
I would have been perfectly fine with it. I would have been like,
Oh,
yes,
I would have been
I
more
survived
frustrated.
that far.
I'd have been more frustrated. It's just
Yeah,
like,
dead is dead.
yeah.
Lose is lose.
Yeah.
But, all right, well, that's our review of Subterra.
Yep. So,
Good game.
yeah, hopefully you'll try to give this one a go and let us know what you think. Please feel free to subscribe by hitting the bell and follow
Subscribe
along.
button.
Yeah.
and like.
Give us
Give us some
comments.
comments.
Yep.
Like the
Feedback.
video.
Well, not necessarily. They may hate the video. That's fine. We'll like the comments for
Just
that
leave
too.
some comments.
Yeah.
So
Tell us
let
what you
us
think.
know.
All right. Well, until next time, which probably won't be too long from
Okay.
now.
Maybe tomorrow.
We'll talk to you next time.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night.